In today's video I'm going to show you some of the stitches I used for filling in stitches when I made my Victorian crazy patchwork bag. You could always use these stitches on a quilt as well, or any crazy patchwork that you do. Seed stitch. One of the stitches that I used on my Victorian crazy patchwork bag was the seed stitch. I did a double seed stitch, so I did 2 stitches together before moving on to my next 2 stitches. Bring your needle up through the back of the fabric and then re-enter a stitch length ahead and pull through. Then for your second stitch, do exactly the same in a parallel line with the first stitch you did. This way you get a double seed stitch. You can do these stitches in any direction, one facing to the right, one to the left, one up, one down, any way you like. Just use it to fill those empty spaces on your plain pieces of patchwork. French knots. I use the French knot in rows and columns. Insert the needle from the back of the fabric and pull through until the knot engages. Wrap your thread around your needle 2 times and then pull your needle through, forming the French knot. Enter from the back of your fabric. Take your needle and wrap the end of the thread round it twice and then thread your needle back through the same hole that you came out of and pull. Enter through the back of the fabric. Take your needle and place it close to the fabric and wrap the end of the thread around the needle twice, then re-enter through the same hole and pull through. Keep repeating this as many times as you require. Chain stitch. To make the first stitch, bring the needle up through the back of the fabric to the front. Then return the needle back down through the same hole and pull through, leaving a small loop. Then reinsert your needle from the back a short distance away from the starting point, making sure that your needle goes through the loop that you made. Pull your thread through, but do not pull it too tight, as you want to form a loop. Then reinsert the needle back through the exit point. Make a small loop again and then bring your needle back up through the fabric from the back a short distance ahead to form another loop. Continue to make as many chain stitches as you like. I'm doing a wavy pattern here, but you could do them in a straight line. I'm going to do the top line in red and one below it in orange or yellow, not decided yet. Orange or yellow, probably orange. Single chain stitches. You can also do individual chain stitches in exactly the same way. Come up from the back of the fabric and then go back down through the same hole, forming a loop which you will then come back up through a little bit further ahead. Pull through, but don't pull too tight, and then reinsert your needle on the other side of the loop to secure it in place. Then continue to make as many chain stitches as you require. They can all be going in one direction, or you can have them all facing in different directions. They can all be in one colour, or you can have them all in different colours, entirely up to you. stars. Another very simple idea to fill gaps is to do star stitches. Push your needle up from the back of the fabric and pull. Then make a stitch the length that you like your star to be. Then do exactly the same going across. Come up from behind and go across, forming a cross. And to form an 8-pronged star, just come up between 2 of the prongs and go across to the opposite side, and then repeat on the opposite side, and you'll end up with an 8-pronged star. And repeat to form as many stars as you would like. Chevron stitch. Insert your needle through the back of the fabric where you wish to start your first stitch, and then take a short stitch. Leave a loop and then come back up through the middle of this stitch. Then you can pull your thread tight. Next, insert your needle along the top line at a diagonal at about a 45-degree angle. Then come back up to the left of this and then back down to the right, and then take a small stitch coming back up in the centre and then pull. Now take a diagonal stitch to the bottom line, insert your needle and come up a short stitch backwards and pull. Then go a full length stitch forwards and then come back half a stitch and pull. Then take a diagonal stitch to the top row and pull through. Come back up half a stitch and then go back down a full stitch length, leaving a loop, and then come back up in the centre and pull. Continue in this fashion to the end of the row. Cross stitch. If you want to do more than one row of cross stitch, it's a good idea to draw yourself a grid as I have. The rows are 1 centimetre or approximately half an inch apart, and then my dots are all 1 centimetre again or half an inch apart. Use a pen that you'll be able to remove later. I've used a friction pen for this. Push your needle up through the fabric from the back in the top left hand corner and then go across diagonally to your first dot on the second row, and then come back up through your fabric on the first dot on the top row and then go back down to the starting line. Then again start at the top, go across to the second row, then come back up on the top row and go back down on the bottom row, the second row. You need to make sure that all your lines going diagonally in one direction are either at the bottom or at the top. So you will see that all of my lines going right to left are underneath all my lines going from left to right, if that makes any sense. So make sure you continue to go in the same pattern all the way. Jacobean couching. To start, make a grid. I'm starting in the top left hand corner and doing my first line down, pull through and then do my second line, but this time we're going to start at the bottom and go up. So come up through the fabric and then go back down at the top. Continue sewing like this until you have completed all of your columns, and then start filling your rows in exactly the same way. Both my rows and my columns are all 1/2 inch apart or 1 centimetre apart if you prefer, and I used a friction pen to draw them. Now you need to secure all of these squares down because at the moment they're not very secure. So to do this you need to do a cross in each of the corners. Bring your needle up through the back of the fabric in the bottom right hand corner of your top square, and then 1 stitch length apart go back down in the square opposite this one, and then come back up through the fabric in the left hand square, and then go back down through the top right hand square, forming a small cross. You can make this cross any size you like. You can do them very small or a little bit bigger, and make sure that your parallel and vertical lines are all lined up nicely when you put your cross in the corners. Simple flowers. To make these simple flowers, first make your leaves. Come up through the back of your fabric at the base of your leaf, and then go back down through the same hole. Don't pull too tight because you need to make a loop, rather like when you did your individual chain stitch. Then pull your needle back up through the hoop and secure with a small stitch at the top, and that's your first leaf. And you need to do exactly the same with the other side. Come up at the base of your leaf, go back down through the same hole, and then from the back come up at the tip of your leaf and make sure that you go through the loop that you've just made. Pull through and then just do a very small stitch to hold it in place. For the stem you could do a stem stitch, or if you preferred you could just do a back stitch. These are very simple flowers and you don't want to go to too much trouble. They're just filling in flowers for your Victorian patchwork bag. To make the flowers I did a series of French knots. I tried to make them look like hyacinths, if you know what a hyacinth is, and I think it was fairly successful. Lazy daisies. Lazy daisies are very easy to make. If you can do a chain stitch and a French knot, you'll be able to do them. I like to mark the centre and then 8 points around, going around the centre. Come up through your centre point and go back down through the centre again. And then form a loop, and you need to come back up through one of your marks you've made and then do a small stitch to secure your petal in place. To form the next petal, come up through the centre again and then back down through the centre. and then come back up through one of the marks you made on the opposite side to the first one, so your 2 petals are opposite each other, and then secure your second petal. Continue until you have made all 8 of your petals in exactly the same way. I wanted this one to look like a daisy, so I've done it in white, and I'm now going to make a French knot in yellow in the centre so it does look like a daisy. You don't have to make your lazy daisies look like a daisy, you can make them look like a buttercup or just a flower of any sort. It's entirely up to you what colours you use.